when you assume the office of leadership, sometimes you don't know exactly where you're headed. When you assume the office of leadership, sometimes you don't know exactly where you're headed. And there will be things that will be happening, Terry, during your year, which will cause you to revise the course of your compass just a little bit. But that's nothing new. That's happened with every district governor, and I might add, every president of Rotary International. I represent John and June Kenny here before you tonight. They're great and good friends, and let me tell you just a little bit about them. If John Kenny were here, I am sure that he would be wearing a necktie. And with all due respect to the district governor, he would wear a necktie, but I'm not sure that he wouldn't be dressed in kilts, because he's a Scotsman. Carol and I have been with him and June in their home, and it is a lovely home in the suburb of Edinburgh, Scotland. I have shared with him, he and I are both lawyers. He's a deputy judge over in Scotland, and he took me into the court and sat me up on the bench with him while they did their work. And I'll tell my lawyer friends in the audience, they play a different ball game than we do. They're the mother country, perhaps, but their legal system is quite different. And yet, John Kenny has a history of Rotary service that any one of you would be proud to claim. He's done all the things that you've done at the club and the district level. He was a director of Rotary and a trustee of the foundation. And now he serves as the president of Rotary, and he will go on to serve on the foundation for a period of 4 years. And we can look forward to his dedicated and wise service for a period of time yet ahead. But like every president's come in all shapes and sizes, you know. And he's different from some of his predecessors. First of all, he's from Scotland. And you can decide for yourself what that means about the way he spends money. He is very careful about the spending of Rotary money. And he announced early on that he would not be traveling as much as other presidents had, because he didn't think it was necessary, and he thought his place was in the office in Evanston. There were other things that he did during the year, that he took some chances. He looked into the future. He did some planning. He's been a very, very good president. Those of you who have read the June issue of the Rotarian magazine perhaps have read some of the stories about his experiences, because he's told us about them. And one that caught my eye was a story about a young woman who, at one of his stops, said to him, "In your travels in the Rotary world, what has touched you? What has touched you most?" And his response was something like this. He said, "You know, you can't fully appreciate the condition of people who've gone through an earthquake in Haiti unless you go on the scene and you see the horror of it. You can't appreciate the tragedy of a tsunami in Indonesia unless you have been there to share and to see the devastation. You cannot understand the great need for polio eradication unless you've gone on an NID." And then he went on, and there's a picture of him in the latest Rotarian, of him holding a little baby girl. He went to China, and he found in one place a large number of orphaned children, 2 little girls, one of them named Dragonfly and one named Strawberry. And he was holding Dragonfly in his arms. And that picture is in the Rotarian magazine. And John Kenny said this. He said, we can give more than money. We can give care. The need to care about those in need is something that Rotarians need to concentrate on. There are 3 challenges that he offered us over the past year. They were mostly carryovers from the year before, and they will carry on into the next year. Water and sanitation, health and hunger, literacy, especially for the girl child. And he challenged every Rotary Club to end up with a net growth of 1 member. That would mean 33,000 additional net members for the year. How is your club doing? You still have a month. Will your club end up with a net growth of 1 member? These are challenges which John has offered to all of us, Rotarians all over the world. You have personal challenges. What touched you most? In the Rotarian magazine, they tell the story of a Virginia district governor who, on taking office, was so very, very grateful to a past district governor who had mentored him and inspired him and motivated him to move up in the ranks of Rotary leadership. And shortly after he took office as governor, his mentor died. In recognition of this, their club decided that as a memorial to him, they would become a 100% Paul Harris Fellow Club. And they did. And the district governor resolved that that year his district would rise to new levels in their giving to the Rotary Foundation. And they did. They not only raised more money, but they entered into 2 large 3H projects. And the district governor, when questioned about it, said, "Oh, my Rotarians did all the work. My job was the easiest of all. All I had to do was say, thank you." I want to just touch on another challenge that's been offered to us, and that's the Gates Challenge. Most of you know what happened. The Gates Foundation offered us $100 million down at Salt Lake City at the convention if we would match it to be used in Polio Plus. On the stage at the International Assembly in San Diego in January, Bill Gates walked on the stage and he said, "You're doing so well at that, and the need is so great that I'm going to up the ante, and I'm going to give you another $255 million. And you only have to match $100 million of it, and you've got 3 years to do it." An interesting way in which he gave the money to us. I never heard of anything like this before. I've worked with match gifts before, and so have you. But have you ever worked with one like this, where the match was given to you in a check up front on condition that it be spent immediately in the first year? Somebody said, "What happens if we don't meet the match?" He said, "Oh, you will." What confidence in Rotary. And he has spoken since then on, and I gave a little copy of a speech that he gave just recently, 5 minutes long, in which he explained why he had such confidence in Rotary. He makes the point that Rotary has, throughout the Polio Plus campaign, been the conscience of the movement. And I can confirm this because I have